Hi everyone, it's Dominic here, and today I'm going to be doing my Q&A video. I was supposed to do this ages ago, I'm finally getting around to doing it. Thank you all very much for being patient and waiting. I'm actually going to be splitting this up into two videos. This video is going to be focused mainly on just like school life in Japan, and the next video is actually going to be on life in Japan in general, because I've got so many questions from you guys and I really want to be able to answer as many as I can, and if I were to make one video it would probably end up being like 15 hours long. These are questions you guys have asked me on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, and I'm going to answer them as best as I can. So the very first question I get asked more than anything is, which program are you with? In answer to this question, I'm not with a specific program like Rotary. I'm with a program run by the school that I go to in Japan and the school that I go to, or the school that I went to in the UK. So the two schools run a program. I got a scholarship to go to Japan for a year, and that is how I got there. Next question is, so I'm confused, are you a university student or a high school student, and what grade are you in Japan? Basically, I graduated high school in the UK, the summer just gone, so June 2015, and then in September, or end of September, beginning of October, I came to Japan. So I'm a second year high school student in Japan. I'm about a year older than everyone else. Everyone in my year is 17, I'm 18. If I were actually a real Japanese student, I would be in my third year right now, but because I came in October, I would be graduating like right now, or not now, but like 2 months from now. So to avoid that problem, I joined the second year instead. Which I guess kind of links to the next question, which I got from YLI Brandy, which was, why did I start my exchange in October? Why didn't I start in like March or April, which is when most exchanges start. I can't even speak English. The reason for that is, in the UK we have important exams in the summer of our last year of school called A-levels, and these are important for going to university, and if I were to start my exchange earlier I wouldn't have been able to do my A-levels, which meant I wouldn't be able to go to university next year to study Japanese, which would be bad. So yeah, I did my A-levels, waited till the results came out, which was in August, and then in October I came to Japan. So my next question is from Kawaii-chan, which is, could you tell us more about the everyday life there? How is the daily life of a Japanese student different compared to Europe? So in answer to your question, I guess I'll start with like the daily routine of a Japanese student. We have to get to school between 8:15 and 8:25. 8:25 is when school officially starts. The first lesson is at 8:40. But a lot of students do get to school a lot earlier, i.e. 7 AM, because some of them have clubs, which is, yeah, it's just unfortunate. There are 6 lessons in a day, each lesson is 50 minutes long, and between each lesson we have a 10-minute break. Lunch is at 12:30, and it's 45 minutes. Pretty much every single lesson takes place in the homeroom, so we do not move around much at all. But the main differences I've seen between schools in the UK and schools in Japan are that in the UK, when school finishes, we go home. Like, 3:45, bell rings, that's it. But in Japan, school finishes, you don't go home for like another 5 hours. After school, pretty much every single person does clubs, but the clubs do not start at the end of school. That is the catch. Clubs will often start, I don't know, half an hour after school finishes, 45 minutes after school finishes. I was in an English lesson today, on the blackboard it said, newspaper club starts at 5:30. What? So people hang around after school, do work in their classrooms, then they go to their club, and their club will finish very, very, very late. So my host family's son, he is a member of the Glee Club, and he often comes home around 10, 11 PM, which is just considered normal. Then he has to do all his work. He finishes at about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, then he has to wake up at 6 AM. So yeah, that is the life of a Japanese student. I know, I'm not selling it like really great, I'm making it sound quite bad, but I guess they take their club seriously, which is a good thing. Another difference, or final difference, is that in Japan there's sort of like more of an emphasis placed on individual study. So for example, they will have a topic in maths which they haven't studied yet. The teacher will say to them, okay, you have to go home and study this, and then they'll go to school, and then the teacher will teach it to them. So even before they've learned it at school, they'll have to go and learn it themselves, which I think is quite strange, because I'm used to sort of like going into a lesson and the teacher just presenting you with work and being like, take it. So then my next question is from Extraordinary. Thank you very much for asking these questions, and I'm going to be answering some of them in my next video. But the one I'm going to be answering now is, has it been hard to make friends? So basically, I got to Japan and I was like an infant. I had to relearn how to do just life. So everyone in my class was really helpful. They would like tell me what to do, they would direct me around, they'd be really, really friendly, and so because of that I guess I got to like know people. It was slightly awkward for a while because Japanese students are quite reserved. Well, they're not reserved amongst each other, but I think with like new people, they are reserved and don't like to talk that much. So it was maybe slightly awkward for me because I didn't really want to talk much either because I was quite shy and I didn't want to speak Japanese because I didn't like making mistakes and stuff like that. But it did get better over time, and after our school trip, we went on our school trip and we were in small groups and I got to know people actually like personally, so that really helped as well, getting to know people well. My next question was by Totoro Craft YT, and it was, with your friends at school, do you call them by their first name or your last name? Or their last name? That was actually a really interesting question because that was something I was quite unsure about before I came to Japan, but now I'm here, I've sort of been enlightened. Usually you tend to call people by their last name, but it does depend on the person. So some people you call them by their first names, some people they have nicknames, so you call them by that. It really does depend on the person. For me, for example, I'm either called by my surname, I'm either called Orben, or I'm sometimes called Domi-chan. Like, it just depends, I guess. But yeah, in general, you call people by their last name. No Face wanted to know, what about the food at school? Did you have to buy it there, or did you take it with you from home? Well, I kind of do both. Most people in Japan, or in my school, I'm guessing it's similar for other schools, bring bento boxes from home. And I think most schools in Japan actually don't have a lunch hall. Mine does. That place sells everything from like takoyaki to like taiyaki and ramen and katsu and Japanese curry, so it has all this amazing food. So yeah, I tend to eat my lunchbox and then go to like the lunch hall and buy more food because it's just too good to miss, and I guess it's like an excuse to eat Japanese food. So my next question is actually about me and my abilities of Japanese, which is by Suzu Yehetz Forebs. I think I probably pronounced that completely wrong, I'm sorry if I have. And it is, do you speak all Japanese? And if you don't know any at all, how easy is the work you have to do in a Japanese school? Do they give you worksheets that are Japanese, and do you know how to write in Japanese? So all the work I do is in Japanese. I have like something to show you, I guess, my world history book. So as you can see, it is all my writing in, this is all my Japanese writing, as you can see here. It was very difficult at the start because it went quite quickly and I couldn't even like read the teacher's writing on the board, which was like really strange for me. So yeah, but I definitely did get used to it after a while. As you can see, I've got like English annotations all over the pages because a lot of the words I was writing down were things like Mongolian invasion, civil service exam system, imperial throne, internal discord, attitude of the surrounding provinces. So these were like words which, to be honest, made absolutely no sense to me, so I was learning some really, really weird Japanese vocabulary. As you can see, I do write in Japanese, I do get given Japanese worksheets, and yeah, I guess that's that. So another question I have been asked, how scary is being an English person in a full Japanese school? Answer is very scary at the start, like first few weeks were very, very, very nerve-wracking. But you do get used to it very quickly, and it all ends up being fine. You are drawn to the fact that you are foreign, and you definitely do stick out a lot. But you just get used to it. It's scary for the first few weeks, first few months maybe, but it does get a lot better, and eventually everything's fine. So I just have two questions left now. Second to last is by Weeaboo Jones, which is, how much did it cost and how long did you study Japanese before going? So, as I said earlier, I'm on a scholarship, so the only thing I actually pay for is transportation, spending money, I guess. Everything else was like paid for me. I've been learning Japanese for 4 years. I started studying it at school 2 years ago, and I was self-teaching myself for 2 years before that. So I'd say about 70% of my Japanese has been self-taught, and even in Japan right now, I'm actually still doing a lot of individual work by myself. But yeah, I actually did make a few videos in Japanese, I remember like months ago, and I was planning with this channel originally to make some more videos in Japanese, but I did get kind of lazy and just ended up speaking English the whole time. But I actually would like to make more videos in Japanese, it's just now I don't know if anyone would actually like to see me speaking Japanese. I mean, obviously I would put English subtitles, but if you are interested in seeing me speak Japanese, then please tell me. And my very final question is, what age do you think people should learn Japanese before exchanging to Japan? I think it's worded a bit strangely, but I think basically it's like, how long do you think people should learn Japanese before coming, and how old do you think they should be? So, in terms of how long you should be learning Japanese before coming, I'd say it's probably important to have at least maybe 6 months of Japanese or something, because what I found is like, especially at school, students don't speak that much English, and there will be kind of like a language barrier if you don't speak any Japanese. So to sort of avoid the awkwardness of not being able to communicate with your fellow students, I guess maybe it would be a good idea to have some Japanese. But yeah, maybe 6 months or something. And in terms of age, well, any age really. High school is from 15 to 18 here, so I guess any age between then would be good for being an exchange. I'm 18, and yeah. Those are all the questions I have for today. Thank you everyone who has asked me questions. I'm sorry if I was unable to answer your question. My next video will be on life in Japan in general and how it differs to like the UK and manners and all that sort of thing that's important in Japan, because obviously I am an exchange student, but I'm also living here and I experience things that are very different to back home. So if you have any questions for that video, then please do ask me. And yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you very much for everyone who watched this, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.